Hey guys, it's Bear with the Gimpy Camper. I've been putting this video off for a while. I wanted to try to get some things organized first and that kind of stuff, but I finally realized if I wait till I get this camper like the way that I actually want everything done, then it's going to be an old camper by the time I get around to the tour video. So I'm going to give you guys a tour today of our new camper. Well, new back in May. This is 1st of February, and show you some things that I've done. And I'll have more videos about the modifications that I've done, and I'll have more videos about the things that I don't like. In this video, it's just going to be just a very over-the-top top layer stuff about things that I like and I don't like, and just showing you around the camper. So this is our baby here. It's a 2019 Cougar half-ton towable. I wouldn't do that, by the way, because this is a pretty heavy beast here. But half-ton towable, 29RKS. So RKS means that it has the rear kitchen. We love this design. It's got two opposing slides in the living room kitchen area, which means that you have massive amounts of space inside, which we'll get in there shortly and show you that. His sun's going down out here. I was trying to get this video done today because tomorrow it's going to be cloudy anyway, and I just want to go ahead and just try to share this with you, and I think that it'll turn out okay. So we're going to start with one of my favorite things on this camper, and that's right behind me. This is our outdoor kitchen that is in one of the opposing slides. Okay. The only thing that I don't like about it is this slide does take up like half of your awning space. It does kind of counteract that a little bit, because when you open this massive door, it also basically turns into like a mini awning. Okay. As far as the outdoor kitchen here, I really like the way that it's set up. The only thing that I wish that I had was a sink out here to wash my hands and stuff with. Now this is February 1st, and so I don't really use it right now, but there is an outdoor shower right beside the slide here. So in the summertime, I just leave that open, and I got some soap and stuff right here, and that way I can just wash my hands and go over the outdoor shower, turn it on, and just rinse them off, wash them, and be done with it. Okay, so I don't ever have to go inside that way. So the main things that you have out here is you got some cabinet storage. These cabinets are pretty decent. We have some baskets in here just to organize all our stuff. And one of our main things that we use this for is to keep our plastic silverware stuff and our paper plates and that kind of stuff for our outdoor activities, our picnic type meals, okay? Which obviously we do more of in the summertime. Then you have a shelf here. This is good to keep your seasonings on. We keep these little tabletop tiki torches here. I've got a video about these things. I really like them in the summertime, just to kind of spread out around the campsite to help kind of keep that mosquito population down. We of course have our Blackstone griddle, our 17-inch griddle. We've had videos on that before as well. But there's some things that I don't really like on the griddle. I really like tacos, quesadillas, that kind of stuff. That's great on the griddle. But I'm not too big into this whole smash burger thing. I think they taste real greasy. I don't really like that. I do like the griddle cooking because it flares up less. Our Cougar here came with a Capital grill, which I like having the option for both. You just pull this sucker out. The only thing that I don't really like about this is that the propane hose you have to hook up every time. It's okay for me because I use the griddle too, so I have like an 8-foot propane hose with a quick connector. I hook that up. I'll show you a picture here, and I just leave that hose connected the whole time we're here and coil it up on the ground under the slide when I'm not using it. I may eventually go ahead and just run the quick connect up in here. That way it's easier to get to. But to use this grill, all that you have to do, there's a tray in here for a drip tray. Pull that out, you slide it in the bottom, you open this sucker here. Now it's got built-in wind guards, all that kind of stuff. I don't ever use a wind guard for the griddle because I've never really felt like I needed one. Some people do not like this. Okay, so what I've seen some people do is take their 17-inch griddle. Apparently you can mount drawer slides on the sides of it, and it'll fit right in this space. The main guy that I saw do it said that you did have to just make a little notch out here for the propane adapter here to fit through. Okay, I don't think you would be able to leave your actual adapter on that goes to your quick connect, but I thought that that sounded like a great option for somebody that wanted to do that. What I do here is I pull this Capital grill out because I don't ever use them both at the same time. I pull the Blackstone out and I use the Capital grill as a base to put the Blackstone on. So since we have the camper level, it's always level. I don't have to fool with any extra tables or anything. And it's right by the propane quick connect. So you just got to flip this over and set it up, and it's no big deal. Then when you get done, you just take it, let it cool off, flip it back over, and just slide it right back up in there, and then this goes right back away. We have our outdoor fridge here, which is pretty nice when you have power. You know, I cook breakfast about every day out here on the griddle, and so I keep a lot of the breakfast foods and drinks and that kind of stuff out here easy to get to. A lot of people use this for their adult beverages, which I don't particularly take advantage of. I did put a few hooks and things over here so that my grill accessories can hang there. I got a brush, a spatula, that kind of stuff. But the Blackstone stuff, I usually just wash and leave it in this void over here. Okay. Our outdoor rug and our new light posts that we have all have spikes that go in to hold them down on the ground. I just throw them right here in this little void in front of the refrigerator, and I always know where they are. And whenever we're traveling, I fold up the outdoor rug and I just leave it here on the counter. Then we'll throw this back down and we'll keep walking around. We're going to do the outside first. Okay, then we're going to step forward from the outdoor kitchen and we're going to go to the basement storage here. Before we get to that, we're going to pass the solid fold steps, which I really like. I'll throw a picture of those up here. And I do like when you turn the awning light on, there's a little light behind there and it lights up Keystone in the background of those steps. It's really pretty at night. When you come back a little bit further, you do have our side mount halo view cameras, the blind spot cameras. We have a video on that. I'm pretty happy with these. I don't use them as 100% fact as far as if there's a car right beside me or not. Basically, I use it for extra precaution. I look at the video screen first for the rear view mirror and the side, and then I look at my actual mirror to verify that there's nothing there. And then when we come back from the camera, we're going to get to our first basement storage on this side. This is where I use my main storage, and I'll show you why when I get to the other basement on the other side. So I'm going to lift this up. There's two magnetic latches on this side where it'll stay up. Okay. In here, I have two just cheap toolboxes with some general tools in them. One's more electrical stuff, and one's general tools. These I have because with the fifth wheel, I couldn't keep my toolbox in my truck, and I had to find some other way to carry some tools. And when I load this thing up, the solo stove bonfire usually sits right here in its case, and on top of that's usually my daughter's bicycle helmet and a couple other things. On this side is where we keep our DeWalt blower, as well as our expandable ladder that we also did a video in, as well as our folding rocking chairs fold down and go right there for storage when we travel. Next door up is going to be the propane. There's one small door on both sides. In your propane tank, you got a 30-pound propane tank on each side. These, I always leave one propane tank turned off because it will switch automatically, and that way when you run out of propane, you know you have one more tank left. If you leave both of those on the way they tell you to do at the dealership, it'll switch over automatically. You'll be down 2 tanks, you won't have any idea, and all of a sudden you're out of propane completely. If it's the middle of winter like this, then you might be cold if you don't have an electric hookup where you use a space heater or something like that. I also forgot to tell you guys that in front of this basement storage door is where we mounted our backup lights on both sides. Those things seem to be working out great so far. No complaints there at all. We also have a video on that you can check out. Okay guys, so we're here at the front cap. There's a couple of things that I wanted to point out about this camper here. I love the looks of it, but mainly when you're driving at night, or even if I'm at the park and waiting on my wife to come because I left earlier, there's one special trick that this guy does that helps her find me when she gets to the park. So I walk right back here, and it's a switch that says docking light. So I'm going to flip it on. There's actually two. I'm going to go ahead and flip them both on. The first one does that. And so you have these LEDs, one on each side and one all the way across the top that lights up. I think it's beautiful. Those aren't your legal marker lights. That's not what's going to turn on when you plug into the truck. What's going to turn on when you plug into the truck is just a couple of individual marker lights on the very top. Okay? Well, the other docking light switch just flips this light on here, which just gives you illumination to help hook up. This thing here is supposed to be like a mirror in order to help you back in where you can't see the ball from your driver's seat in those situations. I've not found it to be too helpful. To me, it acts like there's a film on here, but I can't get the film off, and it's not very clear. So that one's still a mystery to me. I've not really needed it until now because I put a soft topper on my truck, which I also have videos for that coming out, and it seems to be working out great for me so far. The only thing that I don't like about that system is that I can no longer see the ball from my driver's seat. Before, I could see the ball of the Anderson hitch or the B&W hitch that I had before when I backed straight in and hooked up to this big guy. Okay guys, so you'll have to excuse the muddy mess here. I had to put some gravel down where I parked the camper because I got stuck in the mud before the last trip, and so I hadn't got around to washing it yet. Now I want to go over the controls here that you have to deal with whenever you unhook. Okay, I did put this leveler on here, which helps me know if I'm level left or right. I use the Camco levelers for that, and this just lets me know when I need to stop the truck. But I can't really see this from the truck as much sometimes. Sometimes I can see it better than others, and so sometimes I have to get out 2 or 3 times. I've thought about doing the Level Mate Pro, but I just didn't want to incur the extra expense. Okay. Now you have a light here that comes in handy when you're hooking up and unhooking during the nighttime. These, truthfully, I forget it's there, and it's really dumb because it helps a lot. Okay. You have your controls here for your jacks. The bottom one is your landing gear, which is your front jacks here that you use to raise and lower from the truck, as well as to level. And so you push those, and that just operates your jacks. Okay. The top one operates the electric stabilizer jack that's in the back. I'm pretty happy with it, other than I messed it up on one of our first trips and I had to replace it. Guess what? There's a video for that. These 2 switches over here is where I turned those lights on earlier. We're just going to flip them off. And then we're going to take a look under this storage door. Alright, so under the storage door, you have your spare tire. There is a motion activated light in here as well as in all the storage. There's one in the storage we already looked at, and there's one in the wet bay on the other side that we'll get to in a minute. So you have your spare tire that stays in here. I've already had to use it once. I was talking about all the mud. There's no water here in the park where we're at, so I couldn't wash it off before I put it back. I keep a battery charger in here. For those of you that don't know, if you forget your power cord or something like that, you can still use your 12-volt system. If you got a battery charger, charge that battery up. Keep it maintained. Okay. I got my 2 6-volt batteries here, and that's all that's in here other than the main parts of the landing gear. Okay. Alright, so now we're over on the driver's side of the trailer, which is the back part. Okay, the back of the camper. As you can see on this slide, I got multiple windows on there. There's also a window in the front and the back of the slide, and there's another window that's right behind me here that's beside the couch when you're sitting in there. Okay, I got 2 slides. I got a bedroom slide that's right here. We'll take a look at that from the inside. It is a smaller slide. Basically the closet's in there, and if it's closed you can't access the closet at all, which I don't really care for that, but it works. Okay, I'm gonna go around this way, camera will follow me, and then you take a look at our big slide back here. Okay, So this big slide is the biggest one that we have. It's about 12 foot long. It goes out about the length of my arm when you go up there and stand beside it. The thing that aggravates me the most about that slide is that's where your theater seating, your kitchen table is, all that stuff. They didn't put a charging outlet in there. Like, in today's day and time, I don't understand why there's not USB ports all over the place in these things. I just don't get it, especially in the areas that you're going to be sitting at the most. So I've rectified that, and there'll be a video coming out about that shortly. So over here on this side, we're going to start at the front. A lot of the same stuff's going to apply. You have a single door here that you have your propane at. It's just a single 30-pound tank like the other side, but when you open it up, your regulator's actually on this side. So you'll look up in there, and that's where you'll see if it says that one tank's empty or not. If you leave both tanks on, which I'd already told you don't do it, that's bad, but if you leave both tanks on, then that's when you can look in this door and it'll show you if one of them's empty and it's flipped over to the other tank. Again, don't recommend it, don't do it. Then you have your backup light on this side and your storage door. So we're going to open our storage door. There's a little surprise in this. So we're going to open our storage door. This one does not have the magnetic locks because it'll hit the slide there, okay? Told you there was a surprise over here. This little guy here is our Harbor Freight 3500 generator. It was quite a deal to put this in. I did use a MORryde slide, but the problem was that the black tank is right underneath where I tried to put this thing in, and it caused me mucho problems. There's a whole video dedicated on how I put that in. Should have been an easy project, and as usual, it wasn't. So on this side, this electric cord I got to watch. This is just an extension cord to go to the air compressor that I have that's sitting behind this. And so basically the air compressor power cord is on the other side where the outlet is for power under the basement here. And that way this extension cord, I can plug in to the other end of the extension cord. I can plug into the air compressor and have power from here if I need it from the generator, or I can unplug the extension cord over there and plug the air compressor directly into the outlet and power the air compressor without having to power up the generator. Okay, so we're going to move that cord over to the side. We're going to pull that up. We're going to pull this guy out. So this is our Harbor Freight generator. We put an exhaust on here because I'm paranoid about carbon monoxide. I've not used this overnight or anything like that, and so I do have a carbon monoxide tester that I'm going to put inside above the closet because I'm so paranoid about it. But I do have a drawer slide over here that has our handy dandy fan. This fan turns on when you turn the generator on because it's plugged in directly to the generator. So if I was going to need it, what we would do is come over here, start it up. So we don't need that right now, so we're going to put that up there. You got to be careful with this because it gets hot if it's running. Also got another video coming on how we put this exhaust on. Okay, so we're going to put our fan back in so that it'll go back. We're going to slide this thing back in there. We want to start putting some pictures in over this so that you guys can understand what I'm saying. But I have a, for organization in here, I used a couple of cheap things from Walmart that are on the aisle where you like, with the mops and stuff, and they're like mop organizers. And so basically they're made to like clip mops and stuff in. Over here I have one that has 4 openings. The first 2 that I have are both for surge protectors because I have a 50 amp surge protector and a 30 amp surge protector. The 50 amp comes with the camper. I got to where I don't really like to mess with that big heavy cord, and so I usually use a 30 amp connection. So because of that, I have a pigtail that hangs in here that just goes straight to 30 amp, and then I have a 30 amp extension cord that I use to hook up to the pole, well, hook up to the surge protector that's hooked up to the pole. Okay. I also have a 50 amp to 30 amp connector in case I need that at some point. I also keep the RV plugs over here, the RV adapters, because I have two of them. I have an extra one for the generator. And this is where our wet bay is. Before I get to the wet bay, I do want to point out that underneath the generator here, where I had to build an extension for support for this tray, is where I keep my air compressor cords. I have an air compressor outlet on both sides of the camper. For this side, it's right here. This is what I use to winterize with, and I'm really happy with that system. And then I can hook up this over here, the blue hose. I have two of those, so I can go 40 feet from either side and fill up my tires or whatever I need to do. Okay. So we're going to go back to our wet bay here. Our wet bay, we have 3 water connections. Okay. The top one's winterized. You're supposed to be able to take a section of hose. This is the one that I made for it. Just a small section of hose. Screw it in there. Put the other end into the RV antifreeze. And it's supposed to, after you turn the winterized mode here, it's supposed to suck that antifreeze up into the pump and take it straight on in. I couldn't get it to prime. I got mad. I took the panel off. It doesn't even look like it's plumbed in right. And that's a whole different story. But since I do this winterization and unwinterization every 2 weeks, I use air anyway. So I just use some little RV antifreeze in the drains. We'll have a video coming out over that process here shortly. The next item in here is going to be the city water connection. That's the one that I use whenever I hook up at a state park or something like that. There's a hole in the bottom where you run your hose up so that it has a nice clean look, and you just put it right here in the city water connection. Okay, I usually use a brass elbow there so it looks a little better, and that's also the city water connections where I put the air compressor plug. I have a Vire regulator here with a quick connector on it that goes right onto this, which screws directly into the city water inlet, and that's how I do that. Again, we'll go over that shortly. This here is similar to an outdoor shower, but it's more of a garden hose. There's a quick connector up there. I usually leave the hose just hanging there because it's the most out of the way place for me. But the hot and cold water's at the top, and then you can just put like a spray nozzle or something on the bottom. The third one down is the hose connector, is the tank flush. The tank flush is where I've had another problem. There's like I think it's called a vacuum seal. I'm going to put the words here, what it actually is, I'm going to look that up. But it's usually behind your kitchen, your bathroom sink, or your bathroom shower. And basically that helps your black tank flush from venting and stuff. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but those are prone to breaking. I've tried to flush this a couple of times. The first time I didn't notice anything happening at all. And the second time I noticed a whole bunch of water coming straight down right here, which is where the shower is. So I think that vacuum seal is broken on mine, and I've got to replace it. I was going to do some warranty work with it, but I'm trying to avoid taking it to a dealership. And then you have the 2 levers at the bottom. Move the hose out of the way, which is your black tank gate valve and your gray tank gate valve. Okay, so when you pull those, it opens up the tanks, and the connector is right down underneath there. But this 5th wheel has 2 gray tanks, and so there's also one that's back behind the tires, and that's for the galley, which is the sink in the kitchen has its own gray tank. We're just going to close this back up. Keep walking back a little bit. Here's our hot water heater. We'll go into this more in detail with our winterization, but this is where it's at. Okay, and then you have your camera back here, which is your blind spot camera on this side of the camper. Alright guys, so we're back here on the back corner of the camper. I'm going to walk back here, and these 2 items here are pretty important. This is where your electrical connector goes in. This is the 30 amp version that I was talking about, so that cord's only this long. Okay, and then I have the 30 amp extension cord here. I love it, works great, got it on Amazon. I'll put the link in. And then I have this unlocked because we had to get in here the other day. This is where our fresh water tank fill, okay? So you just open that up, you take the cap off, pour the water in there, and your tank's all filled up. It took me a long time to find the fresh tank drain. It's basically up under the camper, right beside the stabilizer jack on this side of the camper. But on the back side of the camper, we have our ladder, which is pretty strong. Holds up a gimpy camper here. You got your tail lights down here. There is a small little reverse light on here. Doesn't do a whole lot, but it does help a little bit when it's pitch black. Nowhere near as much as the ones in the front help. So then you have your refrigerator vent, because this is the rear kitchen, so the fridge is on the back wall. You have your venting coming out for that. I do recommend putting something in here to keep the critters from going up there. You can buy like screen plugs from Amazon to put in there. I just hadn't got around to it myself. Then you have your furnace down here, the furnace exhaust, so you gotta be careful so that doesn't burn you. And we got our bicycle rack. And you have your back kitchen window, which comes in handy if you're sitting at the sink washing dishes or something. You can look straight out the back or straight in front of you, which is nice. One quick thing to point out is that bicycle rack that I showed you, the receiver that's mounted to, that's got like a 200-pound, 250-pound weight limit, so you can't put a whole lot on that. And then the last part of the outside's this back corner that was before the outdoor kitchen that we started with, okay? So here, you have a small storage that's in the back corner of your cabinet, so, you know, might as well be outside storage because you can't reach it. And so when you open this, because I put the Harbor Freight generator in the front storage, I used to have what I call the setup tote. So I had all your cords and all that stuff in there. I really like that system, but it's one of the compromises that I had to make. So now this area is where all my setup stuff goes, my cords go, all that stuff. The thing that's going to be on the very top is always the Rover Roamer, the trolley system that's portable that I have for the dogs to take with us. That way when we get to camp, as long as there's an adequate place, I can put their trolley system up and they don't have to wait in the truck while I unhook. Then when you come back just a little bit, there's the outdoor shower here. Here is the vent for the stove. It does kind of snap into place for travel. So whenever you're using the stove, you gotta come out here and make sure that it's loose so air's coming out of it. Then you have your awning. This awning is electric, so all you gotta do is push your button. This camper does have the in-command system. I have mixed feelings about it, but one thing that I do like about it is I can pull up the app on my phone and I can push the button to take the awning in and out. This is supposed to be the, according to the dealership, I've not really seen evidence of it, but this is supposed to be the overflow for the fresh water, the vent. It doesn't seem to overflow out of here though. It more backflows out of the main opening where you put the water in. Then the last thing over here, oh, two last things, is the kitchen window that's in front of the sink and outdoor speakers. So there's a Furrion sound system inside. You can select whether you want the sound inside, outside, or both, which I think is pretty nice, but I don't generally listen to a lot of music outside, mainly because I've had neighbors in the past that are really annoying with their music.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.